Well, hello everyone. Welcome back. This is going to be a little bit different of a video. Um, One of my interests is non-native invasive species here in Cincinnati and really the Midwest, but in particular the East United States in general. And I'm going to talk about two of the worst offenders of that here today. The one you're looking at right here is a pear tree. I believe it falls under the family of Callery pear. It's spelled Callery, pear, Pear. And I want to say the Latin name is Pyrus calleryana, something like that, but Pyrus for sure, Pyrus. And these trees are just unbelievable proliferators and spreaders and seeders, and they are all over Cincinnati, Midwest, Eastern United States, and they really can't be stopped. What's crazy is I was actually doing some research online, and as late as 2005, I think this tree was named the Urban Tree of the Year by the Society of Municipal Arborists. So 2005, this tree was said to be one of the greatest sidewalk, streetscape, landscape, cityscape trees out there because it grows fast and it stays contained into one particular area, which is couldn't be farther from the truth. What we know now, right? Looking back on it, so the most common tree you'll hear from in this category is called Bradford pear or also Cleveland Select. But they are just terrible trees in many different ways. They they completely spread all over the place. They're everywhere. Any roadside, entrance ramp, any hillside, any area that's not occupied by humans. These trees spread and they grow like crazy. And also, in the areas that they are cultivated um, in the 80s and 90s, people brought them into their yards, which now it's actually illegal to do that in the state of Ohio as of this year. But they're also very weak, and they have so many different leads on them, and they fall very, very easily in windstorms, and obviously tornadoes and things like that. But they're weak trees. You don't want them around, and also they're terrible for the environment. They completely decimate and ruin landscapes, native landscapes, that is. So, Bradford pears and pear trees in general, terrible, terrible trees, an invasive species, something that's illegal to plant, replicate here in Ohio as of 2023, I believe. And the rest of these images are mostly all going to be Asian bush honeysuckle, and even more so than the pear trees, in my opinion. This plant, it's a bush, and it's completely out of control. This is actually on my back property here in the forest behind my house is where these images are coming from with this creek. And as you can see, I mean, it is absolutely just everywhere. You cannot walk through this area. I mean, it's just a thicket of Asian bush honeysuckle. It has many varieties in it. It has a Latin name that I'm not even sure of, but everyone knows what I'm talking about. That's traveled through this area. It is anywhere basically that humans aren't, and it especially loves, just like the pear tree, it especially loves um, areas that have maybe at one point been cleaned and then left. So things like roadsides, just roadsides can't even grow anything anymore other than honeysuckle and pear trees. It's incredible. And now, open settings where forest meet clearings, that is where honeysuckle is so, so prevalent because it does like the light. But as you can see now, it's doing more than that and it's getting down into the forest. Um, Again, non native, invasive, from Asia, just like the pear tree, which is also from Asia. Things that we brought here that we thought would be great. We cultivated them. We thought they would do good things either from our landscape, for our environment, or for just for our pleasure of looking at them. And they are that. But once you know more about them, you really can't stand to see them. And when I stand on my back deck here and look over my daffodils, and all I see is green in mid-March, that's not good. That's not good. As you can see, all the native species, all the oak trees, these are two red oak trees here, all the poplar, all the beech and birch and maple, right? There's no color on them. And all we see color on right now is the Asian bush honeysuckle. There's some swamp oaks right here that you still see leaves on, but that's okay. Um, uh, but it's just incredible how fast these things proliferate and just how terrible they are for the environment. Both species, they elbow out any native species to where nothing else can grow, and native wildlife can't find refuge in them. They don't offer any nutritional value to wildlife. I mean, just awful, awful things. And there's really no way to stop it at this point. It's up to each homeowner to figure this out for themselves. And collectively, as communities, we have to find ways to try to work together to alleviate this because it's a really big problem. Um, in the Midwest, you should be able to walk on the forest floor throughout without having to step over any type of bush of this nature. It's supposed to be a clear environment, and that's just how the cycle of things work in the forest. But as you can see here, it's just completely thicketed by the honeysuckle. And as you see here, this is literally there's rocks growing on the side of this highway, and all you see is Bradford pears and honeysuckle. It's a huge problem. We need to try to stop it. And another thing with both of these is they both come on in the spring much before anything else does in the native environment. Um, so mid-March, both these things were already budding out. You could see the green and the understory from the honeysuckle, and you could see the white from the Bradford pears or pear tree, I should say, in about mid-March. And nothing in the native space is budded out that early. So why that matters is A, because you see the bad before you see the good. So looking around, you see, oh man, the only thing that has color right now are things that aren't supposed to be here. So it's just a little bit, puts a little bit of bad taste in your mouth. Now, no, most people don't even know that, so it doesn't matter to most folks. But and the other reason why that matters is because they have an advantage of gaining nutrients and resources before all the native plants do because they are alive and active and out of their dormant state earlier. So they just have a time advantage. And likewise in the fall, both of these last much longer than native species do. So they keep their leaves much later into the fall and almost basically into the winter, both of them. Late November before they stop dropping. So it gives them an advantage there as well. So just overall, just a terrible thing that we've done by introducing both of these Asian plants into our environment. And they're really just destroying our environment. And it's really sad to see. So, um, anything that we can do to help alleviate the onslaught of both of these plants, we should try to do. Thanks for your time, everyone. Have a great day. Goodbye.